just like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Makakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Bread Millstone, Christmas word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled word, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And this is a news article, two articles that I'm about to bring out. This first one was on October 29th, 2022 from RTAlternativenews.com. And this is from World Alternative News, which is RT.com. And the highlight of this news article, when it reads for October 29th, 2022, on this Saturday afternoon at 3:58 p.m. Central Standard Time, it reads, Russia suspends participation in a grain deal after Ukrainian attack. Yet the decision was made following a Ukraine assault on Moscow's Black Sea fleet. And it says an announcement on Saturday that has hope in compliance with a grain deal broke by the UN and Turkey earlier this year. The move came after attack launched a major drone attack on ships involving a secured safe passage for the agriculture cargo, which the Russian Defense Ministry explained. And it says in a post on Telegram, it says in a post on its Telegram channel, the ministry said Russia is suspending its participation in the implementation of the agreements of the export of agriculture posted from Ukraine Port Salakia. And it says and explained that the move was prompted by a attack against the ships of Black Sea's fleet and the civilian vessels involving in ensuring the security of the grain corridor. It says the minister also alleged that the bomber was organized with the involvement of the British military. And it says the UK Defense Minister has denied any involvement of the Ukraine drone attack on the Black Sea fleet. That several spoke, claiming that Moscow is resorting to peddling false claims on an epic scale in an effort to distract the global communications from the disastrous handling of the illegal invasion of Ukraine, which Russia, still look at as an operation in Ukraine, with the Russia-Ukraine current situation, what's going on. And it says an event story says more about the arguments going on inside Russia's government does about the West it had. It says committing on Russia's decision to suspend the grain deal. Andrei Yermak, Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, Chief of Staff, accused Moscow of blackmail. And it says Russia blackmail is prominative across the board. Blackmail in a nuclear energy and the food field. He stated, adding that all the supposed Russian ploys are too simple and predictable. Early on Saturday, the Russian's agriculture minister Dmitry Peskov, if I pronounced the name right, signaled that Moscow is ready. It says early on Saturday, Russian agriculture minister Dmitry Peskov signaled that Moscow is ready with Turkey's help to send the world's poorest country up to 500,000 tons of grain within the next 4 months. It says he noted that it's Considering this year's harvest, Russia is fully ready to replace Ukraine grain in a range of deliveries to all interest countries at a reasonable price. And it says the Russian deal is not only did not solve problems of the countries in need, but aggravated them in a sense. We can now see where the ships from Ukraine were heading to Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. And for cargoes, the share of EU countries range from 60 to 100%. These are not the states that are experiencing real food problems, the minister said. And he said Russia's early flocking. Russia's early warned it could quit the grain deal if an agreement to ease the restrictions on the food and fertilizing and exports are not implemented. Moreover, following the blast on the strategic Crimean bridge, which was a couple of weeks ago, it says President Vladimir Putin said that it turns out that Ukraine, the countries that Moscow is accusing carrying out the attack using drain corrals to transport explosives that would put very existing on these corridors in question. The breakthrough between Moscow and Kyiv has reached Istanbul in July, meditating by the UN and Turkey. It aimed to unblock agriculture's imports via Black Sea from Russia and Ukraine, two of the world leading grain exports, which has ground to halt due to the conflict between the two nations. That's that Luke 21 and 25. I believe I'm gonna bring that scripture out after I bring out the second news article. And this is a news article right here from Reuters.com from World News, October 29th, 2022 at 3:29 p.m. and it was last updated 36 minutes ago. And this is published by the Reuters staff of this news website to publish this news article. And the highlight of this news article, it reads for Reuters.com World News Alternative News. It says a French police clash with protesters as farm reservoir site. The clash at a protest on Saturday against the construction of a large water reserve for farm aggregation in western France left scores of people injured, and the authorities said. It says France worst drought on record this summer. Right, same thing with the UK as well too, and parts of Europe as well too. Over the summer had the worst record drought of weather, so that makes sense. It says France's worst drought on record this summer has sharpened of debate over water resources in the Union biggest agriculture sector. The artificial reservoir has been supported by some farmers as a way of use water efficiently, but have been decried by critics and outsized in favor of large farms. And it says several thousand opponents defiled a ban on protesting at a planned reserve in the rural district of Saint-Solin, which France television showing protesters roaming across fields towards the fenced-off construction and is being repelled by tear gas. There were 61 injured, including 22 seriously injured, amongst the police who were attacked with fireworks, mocktail cocktails by some protesters. The local prefect said in a statement. France Agriculture Minister Mark Fremont condemned on Twitter the violence against police and criticizing protesters for the intention to block a project developed locally over years. The Green Party officials who jumped the protests and blamed excessive security present that mobilized over 1,500 police. And it says all that protect a water grab in the midst of a drought. Lawmaker Sandra Rossi tweeted 4 protesters were injured and 6 arrested, the prefecture said.
Anybody's ready to change?
This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And it reads through the Holy Scriptures. And there shall be a sign in the moon and in the suns and stars, and upon the earth the distressive nations with perplexity and the seas of raging war, right? Because that's what we're seeing, the increase of uproars of people in the world, nations rising up against nations, sedition among men, spirit of these nations and different kingdoms as well, too. They're going against their leaders, which I'm about to bring out as well, too. I'm going to first bring out the second Ezra, 9 and 3. This is the book of second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars in the people in the world, right? Because we're seeing the rise and increase of uproars in the people in the world with these protests and people with that sedition among man's spirit. What I'm about to bring out as well too. Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16, and it reads. Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16. For there should be sedition among men and hating one another. And they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. Right, because you're having protesters of these citizens in these different countries around the world, throughout the four corners of the globe. Doing these protesters of they leaders and officials that leading the country. And, the citizens highly oppose certain laws and decrees that's been right into those countries. That's why you see an uptick in the uprising of people in the world. And that's what we're seeing, with that with that Iranian protest stuff. Now you got this protest over there in France and many other protesters that are increasing around the world as well too, And I believe here in America, it was going to be a potential, an increase of great division between both sides on the left-hand side and right-hand side, trying to entice violence when this midterm election coming up. It might not be 100% fully true, but that's just a rumor. That's just a rumor. So that second Ezra 9 and 3 is definitely coming into full effect, along with the second Ezra 15 verse 16. That's sedition among man's spirit, against the nations, against the nations in different kingdoms as well too, and the people that's in power, and the citizens disagreeing with certain laws that's been written into law. That's why you're seeing the increase of uprisings. Some for equality, some fighting over job opportunities, increasing their wages, some for gender awards, some for freedom. It could be in many different ways. That's why you're seeing the uptick in the uprisings of the people in the world, So it's definitely going to increase more and more and more, So with that, I hope this sit-down lesson was edifying. Through the spirit, power, verse, and mercy of the Hawaii Outshine. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Karkadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered in the four corners of the globe. Preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Salaki for the background, somebody was driving their car. But once again, Hope this lesson was edifying. I was bringing the 2 news articles out with the Russian-Ukraine situation of, I believe, Russia pulled back from the grain deal or something like that. And then you got this French protests and clashes over there in France. So you're seeing the uptick of disgressive nations, which I brought out in Luke 21 and 25, 2nd Ezra 9 and 3. Uprising, upwards in the people of the world, and sedition among man's spirit as well too, you know. So with that, I would say shalom and a ball.